Welcome to the wet, dark alleys of history, where the stench of poverty often masks the deeper, more visceral rot of unbridled wealth. There is a psychological knot tying our currency to our waist. A link that suggests gold is merely the most refined form of filth. Language betrays us. We speak of being filthy rich, flushing cash, or pissing away fortunes, revealing a deep-seated cultural association with the profane. This connection begins in the nursery. Our first experience of production and gift-giving is visceral, a primitive economy of bodily output and adult praise. Freud suggested that the child's interest in excrement is redirected toward money. The gift becomes a commodity. The output becomes a transaction as we grow. The wooden blocks of childhood are replaced by stacks of bills. Yet the underlying psychological obsession remains largely unchanged. Religion has long warned us of this. The Bible speaks of filthy lucre, framing wealth not as a blessing, but as a moral contagion. In the Islamic tradition, the concept of tahara, all ritual purity, stands in stark contrast to the greed that accumulates unclean wealth. The sacred cannot tolerate the profane. Gold, when hoarded without spirit, becomes a weight that drags the soul into the mire. Jewish polemics often utilize this metaphor to critique corruption, illustrating the stain that ill-gotten gains leave upon the character of a man. In medieval imaginations, the afterlife was a place where one's moral failures manifested as physical filth, a literal drowning in one's own greed. The soul becomes stained by the very things it tries to possess. The gold we keep eventually keeps. U.S. binding us to the earth. Consider the myth of Midas. It is the ultimate tragedy of capitalism, the transformation of life into dead, sterile value. When everything you touch turns to gold, nothing you touch can nourish you. The banquet of the billionaire is a feast of metal. Even love is commodified. The golden daughter of Midas is a statue, beautiful, expensive, and entirely devoid of the warmth of life. This is the mythic prison of capital. It promises immortality through accumulation, but delivers only the cold permanence of the grave. Every empire eventually finds its hoard rotting. The gold doesn't stay bright. It leaks the sludge of the labor that produced it. In the modern era, the aesthetic changes, but the rot remains. The 1980s gave us the high-functioning sociopaths of Wall Street. Gordon Gekko told us greed is good, but he failed to mention that greed is also hungry, consuming everything until only waste remains. The Wolf of Wall Street shows us the peak of this excessive carnival of consumption, where the ocean itself feels oily and spent. The party is a frantic attempt to outrun the realization that all this movement is just a dance on a pile of refuse in the pits of the trading floor. The paper wealth becomes indistinguishable from the trash on the street. It is a storm of paper. And then there is Patrick Bateman, the final evolution of the capitalist subject, perfectly sterile on the outside, utterly hollow within. He stares into the mirror and sees nothing but the reflection of his own consumption. A void wrapped in a designer suit. But perhaps there is a cycle we've forgotten. In ancient Egypt, the scarab beetle was sacred because it found life within the waste. It took the profane and turned it into a vessel for the sun. It understood that growth requires the very things we find repulsive. Capitalism tries to hide the waste, but the drain eventually catches up with the gold. The luster always fades to black. We are all walking on shit street. The question is whether we are building monuments to the waste or finding the seeds within it.